Ready.
Good morning from the Republic of Panama. We start the discussion panel Education for Sustainable Development, organized by the International Network of SDG Promoters Panama in conjunction with the Earth Charter Young Leaders, International Network of CGA Promoters Bolivia, Ecuador and Nicaragua chapters, Earth Charter Educators, Eco Peace Team Cave of Latin America and the Caribbean, ATNO Food Social Gastronomy, EDESO Development Initiative, Tech for Colombia, and also Young Political Chapters El Salvador and Choco, Colombia, as well as Regional University Center of the University of Panama, Autonomous University of Chiriquí, UNACHI, Red Cross Youth Panama, Latin University of Panama, Social Security Fund of Panama, Climate Reality Leadership Corps, CGA Student Hub, Autonomous University of State of Mexico, National Youth Athenaeum, Mexico City, Interliterally, Mexico Institute of Fauna, Flora and Social Sustainability, AC, Transform the World Foundation, Convergência Consulting, Fridays for Future Central Region, Earth Journal, Ocean, Institute of Energy Sustainable and Bioenvironmental Design, ICEBI, Evolution Final Sense, The Philosophy Family Firm, Audeso, UP, InfoWaste Volunteers, CGASP, GR Lego Study, US Champion for Sustainable Development Goals, Sokogaki International of Panama, Advanced Comprehensive Tech Educational Program of Marcelino Munoz Foundation, Global Shoppers Community Cochabamba, GCA Cochabamba, Goes on Earth, and Women Entrepreneurs 2020. On behalf of International Network of SDG Promoters Panama, we appreciate the assistance of the special guests and participants who are present in this virtual event from Latin America and the Caribbean, Africa, Asia, Europe, and Oceania for the benefit of humanity, future generations, and especially for protection on the Earth planet. May there be peace in the world. We move on the next slide to introduce our speakers. Dora Laring, from Ghana. She's a currently student at the Ghana University of Media and Communication Arts, pursuing a communication studies course, public relations and marketing. In early 2023, between February and April, she had the privilege of participating as a co-facilitator in Earth Charter Leadership, Sustainability, and Ethics online course. As for agriculture, she has followed in her parents' footsteps to undertake some agriculture projects. Jidonga Caroline Mwen, from Kenya, she was born in Meru, which is in the East region of Kenya. In 2016, she enrolled in the School of Law at Moi University and is still pursuing a Bachelor of Laws, LLB, degree. She gathered the requisite skills and understanding of the works of the global bodies such as the Earth Charter International and the United Nations in Peace Initiative programs, in particular the need to encourage youth participations in community leadership as well as development programs. She also enjoys network with diverse minds through the numerous forums. Evan Ganeson from Malaysia. Evan Ganeson is a creative designer with a heart for people in nature. Having experience in both fashion and edtech sector, she now takes on the role of a design strategist with a focus on sustainability and development through products or service, projects, or business to combat the urgence of today's world challenge. Her role as an Earth Charter Young Leader has been an inspiring journey to being the change she desires to see. When it comes to Glory Eze from Nigeria, is a passionate research and program assistant graduate intern at the Center for Journalism Innovation and Development, CGIT, where she's responsible for assisting projects and project implementation under the journalism program Dubawa and supporting the grant management team. With a recent degree in common law, focused on jurisprudence and international law from the University of Europe, she brings a unique perspective to her work as rights advocate and ethical leader. In addition to her work, Glory is deeply interested in global development and advocates for climate change. She believes that everyone has a role to play in protecting our planet and promoting sustainable practices, as she actively seeks out the opportunities to make a positive impact in this area. Victory Silas from Nigeria. He graduated from Niger Delta University, Wilberforce, Island, Borcella, State from the Department of History and Diplomas. He is currently a history teacher and the Dean of Students in Mother Paul Ofia Memorial Boys Secondary School, Asia, Nigeria. He is a former instructor with Joint University Preliminary Examination Board, JAPET. Victor have a great passion for international politics, which have led him to direct the interests in advocating for sustainability, especially in our surrounding Earth. He has been engaged in several volunteer programs related to education and the total well-being of Earth. Currently, he's a member of Earth Charter Young Leaders. Ashria de la Lestra from Panama, she has a degree in culinary arts from the Inter-American University of Panama, where she's presented her graduation project, Sustainable Restaurants in Panama. Member of the Soca GEC International of Panama, where she's the coordinator of Team Soca in Agenda 2030, a group that aims to promote said agenda in Panamanian society. She has more than 5 years of experience in social projects that promote peace, culture, and education. She took the Earth Charter International Leadership, Sustainability, and Ethics course. She continues her training in sustainability and by currently taking the Introduction to Sustainability course at the University of Illinois. She's currently developed together with Isel Ramon a project called Cappuccino Wednesday, a virtual dialogue space for family empowerment, promoting SDGs 4, 5, and 10, and principles 11 and 12 of the Earth Charter. Janice Pinzon from Panama, technical and criminalist from the Metropolitan University of Education, Science, and Technology. Law and Political Science student at the University de Istmo, instructor of Synergy of the Electoral Tribunal, consultant in communication marketing planning, criminal investigation, and the acculturate penal system. Consultant of the Justice Education Society of British Columbia in 2019. Preschool teacher in English with intermediate command of French, Italian, and Portuguese. Participant in the Earth Charter Leadership, Sustainability, and Ethics course in 2020. Currently, she is an announcer in the Dance Floor Radio program on Radio Anson and was nominated in the feature category of the Society Communication Awards in Panama in 2022. Melissa Reyes from Peru, Younger Parliamentarian, Lima Region 2023 Congress of the Republic of Representative in Nations 8 Culture and Identities of the Metropolitan Youth Strategy Metropolitan Municipality of Lima. Participant created for Lima, MML 2021. Volunteer of CMPJ, Lima 2021 Young Observatory. One stage, scholarship participant in course Leadership, Sustainability, and Ethics by the Earth Charter, or 2023. Participant of the Macro Lima Calo Youth Activities Laboratory Actropy, and participant of the Political Bootcamp Foundation, French Naumann Países Ambitions and Libre Results in 2021. Also, she has been selected participant as Social and Political Management of Times of Crisis, FASCLO Argentina, Athenian, UN Woman, and International Idea in 2021. Is fellow of the Common Cambions Lima Proposed Space Program and the Friedrich Naumann Foundation and Pocket School of Government 2022. Director of the South Zone Board Network of the Young Politicals Lima in 2022. Zach and Zoe Smith from United States, sorry, to homeschool kids from upstate New York, USA. Through the hands-on experience of learning at home on the 60-acre farm, called the Philosophy Family Farm, they have spent the years experiencing the world in real time through philosophical and environment lens. From Zach and Zoe, the years of home college will culminate in a successful family from business, where the farm will be regenerated into a thriving, sustainable homestay for future generations and provide the years to come. The work includes regenerating the parcel, studying in the first trees, which will become part of the family tree, learning project, and implementing generous values and a culture that support Marchulan or place-based education structures. And last but not least, we have Valeria Santos from Venezuela. Valeria is a mechanical engineer from Caracas, Venezuela, graduating from University of Metropolitan in 2021, and since has been working in engineering projects regarding sustainability, certifications, and renewable energy system. Her interest in linking her job to the ethics behind sustainable development led her to enroll in the LSE course in 2021, where she later discovered many motivations. Her purpose is to add real value to the world through her work as professional, as well as through personal projects such as the ECIEL network. But now that we have presenting our speakers, we're gonna move on to the next line to begin the panel discussion. And we start with the questions of pillar, people, and peace. So these last years have been a challenge for human rights worldwide. From your experience and perspective, what do you think has been the biggest obstacle to create a more inclusive, dignified society that respects human rights? So I could hear from Ivan.
Hi, Leonardo. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Yvonne from Malaysia. So to answer your first question, obstacle to creating a more inclusive, I would personally say, and I'm coming from a point of faith and spirituality, where it's a theme that we recently have started taking more seriously in it being an acting agent of change to achieve these SDG goals. And I would say the obstacle would be ourselves. I think the changes must first start from within ourselves before change actually takes place on the outside. And actions are results of one's heart conditions, if I were to put it. And we are all given this responsibility to make this an inclusive world, an inclusive, a dignified society, right, as you mentioned. And I think we all need to start taking responsibilities from ourselves and start helping others with what we have and what skills and talents that we have, and start making this change. Because I see there are a lot of rules and regulations and policies that are taking place to help this action, but these rules and laws are not as effective, because if I were to give you an example, it would be like the ESG, and I think I did a post on it before. Like, ESG was a great initiative to begin with, where people started reporting it for the investors' sake, right? It was for figuring out the risk and so on, but it was only a form of reporting. There was no action that was taking place. So is the ESG really necessary? I don't know. It kind of makes me doubt, because there's no action that is relating to that report. So I think it really depends. But my point of view would be everyone needs to have that inner development before they actually start reaching for the outer development.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you. So let me hear a little bit more from Gitonga. Are you there?
Hello. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I so much agree with what has been said. Oh, thank you so much for the introduction. But actually, like to add that I finished my undergrad, I graduated, and also did my postgraduate diploma in law. Yeah, and I'm happy to be a member of the Earth Charter Young Leaders. Regarding this question, I think one of the greatest obstacles is policy implementation, because we have the human rights protocols, we have the laws in place to protect human rights, we have the enforcement mechanisms. Another problem has to be with the people who are supposed to enforce these policies. You know, there are issues that come up, such as corruption, just people being willing to take action, people in leadership being willing to take action, and also as individuals, as we, you know, wrong the people next to us, as we cause indecent acts to people, as we wrong those around us, you know, as we violate their spaces, as we violate their rights, we contribute towards you know, people's satisfaction or achievement of their human rights. So I think now, if looking at it in that broader sense, that's what it is. because it's more than blaming it on policy, enforcement mechanisms, people in leadership doing this and this, but we also contribute to it at our individual levels. Yeah, sure.
Perfect. Thank you for your answer. Zach could not be here. He was another person that would like to talk a little bit more for personal problems, but he let us a little bit let know his thoughts about this question. And he said for us that one of the things that we can do to respect the society that we have is to see ourselves as positive providers of change, rather than obstacles ourselves, creating more obstacles. There are so many opportunities in the world for everyone and their skills. We always can expand and hold just like this type of resource on the earth. And an ability to see that we can include and hold more because we have the power within ourselves, which they can translate to the outside world. This can make us so powerful by showing a source of positive and some source of respect that can more come from this as well. I think that applying mental health and psychology to practice and decision making can see how different perspectives can lead to more change and create a loop effect. This also can be helpful for companies and business deciding what is that they want to do to start projects and programs, and also to help with keeping employees happy and satisfied. The benefit that can come with taking care of people's health is important. Plus the circle that comes back with the aid of the people who do need the help in this sort of project. So definitely is something related to what was mentioned right now. But yeah, thank you so much for the answers. And let's move for another question. What concrete actions do you propose so that human rights are known, respect, and applies? So let me see, we can hear a little bit from Janice. You are muted.
Genesis? Genesis?
While she's trying to fix her audio problems, we can start a little bit with Valeria, if that is not a problem.
Okay, it's not a problem, but I think, okay, well, I'll go ahead and Genesis, then I'll let you.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yes, so thinking about the question, one thing that I recently learned is the importance of story sharing. And that came from last month, where I went to this sustainability focused event in the Netherlands. And while this opportunity may sound like a very exclusive activity that's accessible only for a few people, we were around 60 people there. And one lesson that we were taught was that it takes only 3.5% of a population to create actual impactful change. So if I think that 3.5% of us can share our stories, and then we can share also good and also bad examples that highlight the importance of human rights, then I'm sure that by replicating this kind of dialogue spaces and for instance, what we're doing today, but also what happened in the Netherlands that I was part of, these events in person where people connect deeply to a level that like we understand each other's story and why someone moved countries for one reason, or why someone's family suffered from another reason, or also successful stories. And that I think makes a very valuable impact, and I think is very easily replicable, because stories, we share by just talking, and not only your story, then you learn someone else's story, and then you also tell it to others. And I think that if we use this as a tool and then put the focus on human rights and the importance of them in our daily lives, I think that's one thing that I definitely keep in mind after I learned recently.
Yeah, I firmly agree with you. A space
Hello?
like that. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, don't worry.
I'm Genesis from Panama. Okay, when it comes to representing and promoting human rights, governments bear the primary responsibility. However, Every individual owes it to themselves and their communities to promote human rights. That can seem like a changing task, but there's many ways you can undertake this mission in both your daily life and has a lifelong goal. Like first, need to understand the issues. Many people have good intention, but they lack accurate information. Their efforts can make things worse. Commit to through research from credible sources like United Nations, World Health Organization, and news organization with good track records. Bear in mind that no source is perfect, but even reliable organization can miss the mark. We need to change your or shopping habits, connect to human rights movement, vote in every election, put pressure on those responsible for upholding human rights and protest inequalities. That's is my
Okay. Thank you so much. I just would like to comment a little bit about what Valeria said. That is so important. I firmly agree, and I think the same. One reason is because we are here. We are people that are trying to change the world, and we are definitely feeling inspired by one another, and sharing to the entire world is even more powerful. So definitely something that I totally agree. And it's good to hear about your histories. When I was reading and learning a little bit about each one of you guys, I was like, oh my gosh, they are so incredible. So it's inspiring, it's powerful, it's another community that we create doing this project. But yeah, moving a little bit for the next one. In terms of public health, what are the challenges we face and what can be done to create and implement inclusive and accessible health policies? So let's hear a little bit more from Ivan. So please go ahead.
Okay, so I'm just going to speak on a project that I've been working on recently. So we have been learning the, I guess, obstacles, but also what can we do to help rural entrepreneurs and bring them into this digital economy. Because right now, as you can see, technology is moving really fast. And we who are living in the urban residential or community, even we are struggling to catch up with technology, with AI, and like they're using in marketing and digital. And we're learning as we are evolving. And I got into a project where with the Minister of Digital Economy in Malaysia, and we were speaking on how can we bring the rural entrepreneurs together in this journey with us. And it just made me, when I was doing this research and deep diving into rural communities, and I was like, most of them, one of the main struggles they do in entering into this economy, like digital economy or tech, is the mindsets they have, or mostly also like challenges, mental health challenges that they go through. And it just made me think, oh, wow, like people in the urban cities and community, we talk a lot about mental health, and we have these resources here. We know where to search them online. We know, like therapy, even our friends are well versed in giving therapies themselves, But what about people in the rural communities, women especially, like unpaid works, like who is helping them? What are they doing to overcome? What sort of like help are they getting? And it just made me think, like, that is one of the challenges. I think that inequality that happens between the rural and the urban communities, but mostly on mental health, like just health in general itself, we do lack like certain infrastructures and let's say certain specialists, right? They would need to come to the city to go like for proper checkups. They don't have that. And most of the time it's always clinics with general doctors that kind of be like their personal advisors and giving them medications based on what they can afford. They're like the family doctors as well over then, So yeah, I think the challenges we face would be having proper, not only infrastructures, but it could be like programs that help target women, especially because we in the urban cities, we have a more developed mindset where like we want equal rights, and like women also should be given the same treatment and pays and so on in the places that we work in, even at home. But they don't practice that back in rural communities. They have their own culture that we have to respect as well. Women are supposed to do this and men are supposed to do that. But how, without completely asking them to change, like how can we meet them halfway and have programs or even women network groups to help them share about the problems that they are going through, and in a way use digital technology as well as a tool to help them, because maybe the doctors and the infrastructures might not be built right now, but if they know how to use technology in a way that is beneficial for them, instead of focusing just on social media, which data did show, like most of the time they use, it's only for social media. They don't know how to use it for anything else. But we know how technology can benefit us in so many other ways. So yeah, I think the challenges would be how can we bring them along in this journey, make it inclusive, but think of them as well, not expecting them to join us where we are, but go down, meet them, learn what are their issues are, and find a way that it is culturally appropriate and easy for them to come without having the fear of jumping into this whole like tech movement that's happening right now. And tell them that they're important. Let them know that they're important and that we are looking and trying our best to look out for them as well.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, I like how you address it. Basically, people that have the knowledge, they have to share with others and help society to grow. And it's pretty good to think like that, because we know there's a lot of people that has the knowledge but doesn't share it to help community, society. And if we do help one another and share the knowledge, man, definitely gonna bring great benefits for everyone. But yeah, let's hear a little bit more from Gitonga. Are you
Yeah,
there?
thank you. Thank you so much. I think one of the biggest challenges in public healthcare is the issue of financing, which is systemic and endemic in a way that in the sense that it's caused by issues such as policy, as due to issues of budgeting as a result of maybe the leadership and other issues such as that. And the fact that politics actually affects public health in so many ways, in a way that it shouldn't, because at the end of the day, the biggest part of the population in any country depends on public health, right? So I think one of the ways of making public health care inclusive and accessible to all, and in terms of policy, is to involve people, is public participation on coming up with this policy, and actually involving all members of the public health, all stakeholders, that's what I meant, in coming up with these policies to ensure that the beneficiaries of the health of these public health care are involved. All the actors who may not be essentially the beneficiaries, this could be the doctors, this could be experts in public health, policy, this could be, the local representatives, to ensure that everyone gives meaningful contributions towards this. And also, I think one of the ways that public health policies can be more inclusive and accessible, one of the ways of implementing such policies is ensuring that the policies and the laws that are created are people-centered, instead of politicians and lawmakers making them all about, a financial gain, or, their own, taking care of their own interests. And they make sure that when they're coming up with these laws, that they have needs and the interest of people at heart. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. It's great to hear also about its point of view. And let's hear a little bit more from Janice. Could you give us another perspective, or what do you think about that?
Okay. Do you listen to me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Health is a basic human right, has a line in the World Health Organization Constitution. And the highest attainable state of health is fundamental right for every human being. Okay. Yet, marginalized group experience poor mental and physical health outcomes that the general population due to health inequities. Large driven by social determinant of health, the condition is which people live through their lifespan. There's a causal, a vicious circle between this advantage due to social determinant of health and the poor outcomes. Okay, I have chosen 12 tips that are beware of a assumption of and stereotypes, replace label with appropriate terminology, use inclusive language, ensure inclusivity in physical space, use inclusive signage, ensure appropriate communication methods, adopts of a strength-based approach, ensure exclusivity in research, expand the scope of exclusive healthcare delivery, advocate for inclusivity, self-educate of diversity in all its forms, and build individual and institutional commitments. Thank you.
You're mute, Leonardo.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry for that. But yeah, I say that thank you so much, not just you, Janice, but also all of you guys, even Gitonga, Zago, and Valeria for Isaac for the answers. Definitely was a great discussion when it comes about mental health and political systems, peace, people. Definitely are points that we have to bring out and discuss even more through all of the days. But yeah, let's move for the next slide and start with questions regarding the pillars from prosperity and partnership. So basically, corruption is present throughout the world and is affecting our society. However, there are more occasions in which we can see society take action to change it is. So what strategies can be put into actions to combat corruption for our roles as leaders and agents of change? So Valeria, could you speak a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think the key point in this question that I can identify is a thing that we're asking, we're taking into consideration our role. So we have to first understand that perhaps we're not politicians, but we are citizens. So I think when I think of this question, I really resonate with some words that I have shared with even before about our identity and how we define our identity based on our values and our heart. And I think, you know, to fight corruption, we can only do it through transparency. And yes, again, perhaps we cannot do it at a level where the politicians are, for example, but we have to start at our level. And then if you identify as a person that is very transparent, then you also fight for transparency at all levels of life. And I think that is a thing that is not so easy to, I mean, it's easy to say it, but I don't think it's so easy to put in work when you live in a system that is very corrupted. And I can say, coming from a country that has like suffered like a very big economic crisis that is mainly led by corruption, that the cities transform and that people transform because of this, because they start seeing others say, oh, but if I can pay the police, you know, to avoid a ticket, or if I can pay someone to do this for me, then, you know, you easily get influenced. So I think, again, the biggest fight is a fight of identity and resilience for, you know, to protect our values. I think that's our role as agents of change. I think that's a key thing for me.
I will stop muting myself. But yeah, definitely agree with you when it comes about this point of not just a problem, but how we can solve it is something that has been happening through all of the days, and we have to take action definitely about that. But yes, and what do you say to the groups or any alliance of young leaders who work every day to ensure a purpose future? So let's hear a little bit more. Let me see from Glory. Are you there? Glory, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can.
Yeah. So yeah, what do you say?
Okay, so what do I have to say to groups and alliances of young leaders who are working to ensure a prosperous future? Okay, let me have
Yes.
my video turned on.
Take your time, don't worry. Yeah. It's good to see you.
Okay.
Okay.
Good day, everyone. It's good to see us all as well. All right. So before delving into the question proper, I would like to read out something from the United Nations, because the United Nations has stated that, for instance, Africa has the youngest population in the world, with 70% of sub-Saharan Africa under the age of 30 being the world's youngest continent. All right. So I believe this is a time for young people, youths, even teenagers as well, growing up to be youths someday, all right, to come together in order to form alliances that can now begin to work to ensure a prosperous future. So the only thing I can say to these groups or these alliances of young leaders is that we should continue to put in the work. All right. At the very beginning, it might seem as though we are not doing a lot, or it might seem as though not enough is being done. But I believe with time, all right, we'll begin to create those ripple effects that would one day emerge as something great, right? And in the course of us forming alliances and the course of us, going ahead with all that we do, we should also do that in dignity. We should recognize, our ethics, dignity, and all of that, because, like they say, the youths are the future of tomorrow, or we are the future of tomorrow. All right. So if the future of tomorrow do not get it right, by the time we extend from being the future of tomorrow to being the elders of tomorrow, what then do we leave behind for those who now come up to be the futures of tomorrow, or those who replace us as youths? So, yes, my parting word is, let's continue to put in the work with dignity. All right. If we say the elders or the elder ones are corrupt, what then are we doing to fight corruption? What then are we doing differently? All right, to stand out from those we are accusing or we are allegedly saying are corrupt. All right. Because if we at the end of the day go in that same line, then we are not leaving anything, all right, to make us stand out or to make us stand out differently. All right, so all we can do is complain in vain. All right, for some countries or for some places where, people lament or the citizens lament and say, okay, my leaders are corrupt, or they are not doing things like we would want them to do things, right? But you see some of these leaders coming out to say, the younger generations, to me, are even more corrupt. They don't even know what it is to, to stand up for themselves or to be themselves like we were in our youth, right? And some of them, or most of them, actually believe that if they leave the country in the hands of the youth or what have you, that it would not even turn out to be whatever it is we are preaching. They believe that at the end of the day, we will do worse than they are doing or worse than they have done. All right. So I believe it's now in us, or it's now left for us to prove them wrong. All right. So we can prove them wrong, or we are now trying to prove them wrong by, forming alliances. We're trying to do this, we're trying to do that, even as we have natural occurrences, we also, or natural disasters, as we do have, corruption too, as an endemic disaster, right? We have formed alliances, all right, to combat, let's say, climate change. We're forming alliances to combat corruption. We're forming alliances to ensure that everyone is properly educated at one point or another, right? I think we should continue to put in the work. We shouldn't give up at any point, because in as much as it seems that, okay, the road is not clear or clear enough as it is, all right, it doesn't go to mean that someday it won't be clearer or it won't get clearer. I don't know if that makes any sense. So
yeah, it makes it. And thank you so much. I definitely agree with you. One example that I also can bring is, for example, Rosa Parks. If she had like this thought, like, oh, but people have been trying, I'm not going to do anything regarding that. We definitely should be having the same problems as before. And yeah, for sure, people have been trying to solve the planet, and that is being working in some parts of way, but for that is not a reason that we should stop working and doing our part, because if we put together the alliance, that is gonna be better than not just doing anything at all. So yeah, I totally agree with you, Glory, and thank you, not just you, but also Valeria, for this part. And we can move on for the next slide and start with questions regarding the next pillar, the pillar regarding the planet. So basic climate change is a reality that has been present for decades, and the cause is usually human action. From your perspective, what effective and concrete strategies can be carried out to raise awareness about the state of our planet and the consequence of not taking immediate actions? So, Dora, could you help us a little bit in this pillar? Are you there? Dora, are you there? I don't know if she's having internet problem, so we can talk a little bit with Melissa. Melissa, are you there?
Please, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, now you can you.
Okay, so thank you for reading my profile. And on the issue of climate change, and before I begin, I would also like to say I'm also a member of the Soka Gakkai Ghana as well. On the issue of climate change, I would say currently climate change has become a concern to the global world. And raising awareness about climate change and its consequences is very crucial in our world today. Let me give an example. I just want to talk about something that just happened today. Today being World Cleanup Day. Okay, so I took part in a cleanup exercise today at one of the beaches named Pram Pram in Ghana here. That's a town in Ghana. Okay, so when we got to the beach, we saw a whole lot of plastics, huge heap of plastics from the sea. Okay, so they were at the seashore and then we're cleaning. Unfortunately, residents from that community didn't see anything wrong with that. And it hurts very much because as the world is fighting against climate change, the education aspect is not going down well. So I think engaging the youth and students especially about climate change issues, we need to empower young activists and students to lead climate change awareness campaigns and protests. The youth should lead initiatives. Gone were the days where we had this Friday for Future that demanded climate change action. A whole lot of issues contribute to climate change as well, like burning of bushes, indiscriminate dumping of refuse anyhow. Those are some of the things that leads to climate change. And also, we need policy advocacy. Policy advocacy in the sense that we need to encourage people, especially young leaders, to participate in elections and vote for candidates who prioritize climate action. We just talked about corruption, and just as Glory said, I agree with her. If the leaders are doing that, then what are we, the younger ones, also doing? We should do something different. So this is the time, I think this is the time that we need to see in our leaders that, oh, okay, this is a good leader. This is a leader who has the people at heart, who is going to work for the people and not working for him or herself only. When a leader, we have a visionary leader who thinks like that, and we vote those leaders into power, I think we'll be able to combat these climate change issues. We also need to encourage individuals to take personal action, like reducing energy consumption. When we talk about climate change, climate change is very broad, okay? So we have a reduction of energy consumption, how we use energy in our homes, when we bring it to our level, like our standards, how we use or consume energy, be it electricity, energy in our homes, okay? I think we when going out, okay, in the morning when you are going out from your home, you need to at least put off all your electrical gadgets before you leave home. And that is an example of reducing energy consumption. We also need to learn how to conserve water. Unfortunately, in my part of the country, conserving water nowadays, especially rainwater, is becoming difficult because we've polluted the environment enough. So now when rain falls, it becomes acidic rain, which we cannot use. Gone were the days where we can use rainwater to water our crops. We can preserve rainwater for washing and doing other stuffs. But unfortunately, now in my country, conserving rainwater is a difficult thing to do. And also we need to adapt eco-friendly transportation options. Using transport, you know, when we are using transport, be it your personal car, sometimes I think we should also opt for public vehicles, okay, to reduce the amount of
I think you're having something
Please,
like
can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear. Yeah, now you
Can you
can.
hear me? Okay, so if youth are taking initiatives in our communities, then I think we should also collaborate with the government, the non-governmental organizations, that's NGOs, and communities to create a unified front against climate change. Let me use the same example I used earlier before, the cleanup exercise we engage in today. Okay, so when we go to the community, we were ready, like myself, I was ready to clean. So, but the community was not ready. They didn't see the need, like why, they were even like, oh, after cleaning, are you going to pay us? I was like, oh, I'm coming from a different town, coming to clean your place. I would say your place because they are living in that particular community and they don't just see the need. So there is no unity among us when we want to take initiatives to combat these climate change issues. So I think we need to also foster unity among ourselves also. Thinking about the next generation and even ourselves is very important.
Thank you
We
so
need to
much, Dora. Oh, your internet was delayed, but yeah, you go ahead.
all right. Thank you very much.
Oh, sorry for that, but yeah, thank you. Definitely, was a great answer. And you could like process all the system regarding the beginning and the end, how we should take action. So definitely it was a pleasure to hear from you. So, Melissa, are you there to contribute a little bit more?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
welcome aboard.
Um, in my case, I think in this moment, there are many problems about the climate in very countries, but I prefer understand the situation about the water in this case. Um, is not working about the um, working about the uh, and have a political about the government in about the keep the consumption of water because in Peru in the next years there are many the quantity of water is decreasing around the world. There are can be affected in these resources because there are many people uh, should be ch- prevent politicals about the use of the water. This is important to survive in this moment. In my case, the next is upcycling, and cycling is the best way to uh, don't use um, the resources a lot of of construction. I think it's very important to understand the climate changes in many years. There are a lot of difficulties of need the resources that in my case next year in next years there are many political issues about the construction. Um, and the effective concrete strategies can be carried to raise awareness about the state of our planet and the consequence of not taking immediate action is planting a tree in different regions of Peru. In my case, there are no political about the planting a tree, but in other countries, I think is uh, banned banned about the planting tree is controlled by the government. I think there are many actions to be is to be work about um, the social climate because another issues is the use the transportations of use the natural because La transportation is used by petrol. Petrol is in the petrol have a lot of damage largo in the year. It's damage to use a lot of that. I need to avoid the consumption of petrol. This is can be affected the airs, the air of the the pollution is done is very important too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Definitely it was a great answer regarding this problem and how to address that. And we have also an answer for Melissa. Oh, for sorry. Zoe should also could not be here for personal problems, but she sent us a message about her thoughts, what she would like to do, what is her perspective regarding this subject. Let me read it a little bit for us. She said basically for a natural connection in natural and the natural world, experience natural through or human lens while also experiencing human emotions, consider Christmas trees to be friends, and it's my best interest to take care of them. And this personal connection is going to translate into the personal sustainability decisions that I make, like composing and choosing to stay on my family's farm to help regenerate it into a thriving homestay. I learned to be proactive with environmental advocacy through my homeschool educational. Homeschool is not passive. We have a say in what we want to learn, and it's applied to our own destiny with self-led responsibility to create the future. That's what I'm doing on my farm. So yeah, definitely was a good point of view, especially bring out personal experience, clarify she answers. But last but not least, let's hear a little bit more from you, Victory. What do you think about that?
Right. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak here. I'm so grateful. I will start by saying that so many persons do not believe about climate change. Like they do not believe on the effect of climate change on the planet. A survey shows in US that 70% of Americans believe that climate is changing. But out of the 70%, 40% only believes that climate change is affecting them personally. Whether we believe it or not, whether we accept the fact that climate is changing, climate is actually changing and is actually affecting everybody. And humans are responsible for the effect of the changes. So now, on the other hand, the world has taken a lot of steps in creating an awareness about climate change. For instance, the Paris agreements of 2015 and 2016 that was held in Paris, where several countries came together to commit themselves in making the planet a better one. You know, we can talk about that, and that is a very great step. But now, considering the strategies, your question says the strategies, the effective strategies to create an awareness about planets and its changing. So now I can say that the most important and effective strategy for creating an awareness about the planets is something we have not been doing, which is talking about planets changing. Talking about planet change can help circulate the informations because so many persons are not aware of the changes in planets. Some see it as a religious point of view, like there are some religious group that says that climate change is as a result of the end time. I don't know if we've heard such before. When people say the reason why the climate is changing is because the world is coming to an end. And that's some point of view. But now, the reality is that whether we are climate scientists or not, in as much as we are human, we should know about the changes in climate and we should talk about it. And that can help in curbing the problem climate changes brings to the world. So when I talk about talking about climate change, how are we going to talk about climate change? We can talk about climate change first by raising an awareness in the social media, using our social media to raise an awareness, talk to the globe, talk to people about it, post some stuff relating to climate and its changes. I think that will go a long way to help raise an awareness about climate change. And that information is really going to circulate all over the globe. And another way of strategy, effective strategy we can use to in raising an awareness about climate change is joining in rallies and protests concerning climate change. I think I can remember a story was told in news in Scotland or Wales. I can't really recall the exact country. They raised an awareness. Young people like us, me and you, raised an awareness as a result of the changes in climates. And they seek for what we call a commissioner of sustainability. And at the end of the day, a young person in Scotland is a commissioner of sustainability, a commissioner that will see to the future endeavors of our children. And now, it is very important for we to talk about it because we are humans. And speaking personally about myself, soonest I'm going to be a father, and I might no longer be on earth someday, and I have to create a better environment for my children to live, because that is what sustainability is all about. So another strategy that can be used in creating an awareness as regards to sustainability, as regards to climate change, is speaking to elected officials. When we write to elected officials, maybe the president or the minister of environment in our country, commissioners or agencies related to climates, I think they can have something to do about this. They can create policies that can help in creating or in making the climate to be a better one. We will talk about the consequences of not raising an alarm on climate change. We know that when we are experiencing some huge problems as a result of climate change, scarcity of water, floods, and so on and so forth. I grew up from the Niger Delta region in Nigeria, and we are experiencing whole lots of floods. If we do not raise an alarm about climate change, I think it's really going to affect us consistently. We have to do something about it. And again, if climate issues is left unchecked, I think the global temperature will rise above 3 degrees Celsius. And that's going to be a huge problem for ourselves and posterity, our future. So I think these are the strategies, and as well, these are the consequences of not raising awareness about climate change. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Victory, not just you, but also Dora, Melissa, and also Zoe. Was pretty good addressed it, and it was a pleasure to hear from you guys from this perspective. But let's go ahead for our last question. So basically, we have a question for everyone over here, and we want to hear a little bit from each one of you guys. So basically, how will they incorporate these ideas and proposals of youth in their respective countries and roles they play? So it's a good question because we have over here people from all over the world. So we want to hear how would you do it? How would you incorporate? How you assemble people? So yeah, let's go ahead and hear a little bit first from Ivan. Are you there? Could you give us a little bit of your perspective regarding this subject?
Sure. So this is based on personal experience.
Yeah.
So I had the opportunity to speak to one of the secretariat of the ministry. And if there's one thing that I would really advise young leaders, get your facts right when you are discussing with people who are in higher positions. I think one of the mistakes that we might do as passionate individuals is that we may already throw the facts at them and show them and tell them what's going on. But our action plans need to be valid, not only for us, but it needs to be valid for them. And we cannot go in and tell them all these changes that we want to see without a plan. So be prepared. I always say this, be prepared in and out of season to answer questions when they are being asked. Because then people would know where you are standing in the sustainability movement, because they are going to ask questions. Some of them do not understand, they do not know. And it's our part to educate ourselves in knowing how can we answer them in a way that is relatable to them. The problem now that we are having is that we have, I was explaining this to, I've been explaining this to many people this coming week, actually. We have like a sustainable movement, and we have another group of people who are going business as usual. Now there is a gap. What can we do to bring these people, business as usual, to join us in the sustainability movement? That is the problem that we need to solve right now. And one way is to, besides Valeria's point of telling stories, sharing stories, but if you are wanting to make a change and you are meeting people in higher positions, whether in business, whether in NGOs, whether in ministries, politicians, right? Be bold, one thing, speak up, but speak on the knowledge that you are sure of. Do not speak something that you do not know of. Then when they ask questions and when you are unable to answer them, that just blows an opportunity to actually make a change. So educate yourself, be confident with what you're learning. If you do not know, say you do not know. Do not try to come up with things that you have no background in, because they will keep asking questions and you must be confident enough to answer those questions. Yeah, be prepared. That's what I always say. When you go in, be prepared. Make sure you have a group of people that you have consulted with before speaking your action plans. Make sure you hear from different generational point of views, not only people within your group that you are in. For instance, I'm in a Charter Young Leader. I would not only ask them, but I will also ask opinion from those who are not in the sustainable movement. What is their point of view? How do they see this action plan? Does it actually work in their eyes? You strategize yourself, guys. Strategize yourself, be prepared, be bold, courageous, and bring it, if possible, find a mentor. Find someone who can guide you in the steps to achieving what you want to reach. I think we are lacking that information on how to apply these action steps. It will be really useful. I think every one of us know the importance of learning. We never stop learning. So don't stop learning. Always see what is the best way, not only for our view, but we need to find what is the best for them. Because when they make the decision, they need to see how does it benefit them, not really us. So look at their point of view instead of coming in and saying, you need to do this, need to do that. Come in with a strategy, be prepared always, educate yourself, humble yourself, ask questions a lot, admit when you are wrong, explain to them if you do not understand, but keep having that hope. Speak up. If it's not right in your internal gut feeling, follow that gut feeling. If it's not right, say it's not right and stand up. Because sometimes, like Valeria is saying that there's transparency, people will only know there's a problem only when someone speaks up, because they are blinded by the system. Someone needs to stand up and say, hey, there's something wrong. Let us pause, consider what decisions are we about to make? How many people will get impacted by this? And then we can decide, is this really the best plan to move forward with? So yeah, that would be my.
Perfect. Was pretty good to hear from you even throughout this panel. Definitely have valuable ideas. So humble ourselves and hearing others talking about your problems are definitely points that we have to remember. But let's hear a little bit more from Jitonga. Are you there?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm going to give my brief comment. We've had so much and we've given so many ideas as to the actions we should give. I think one of the things we should do is personalize our actions. Besides being knowledgeable about the courses and the actions we're pursuing, as our previous speaker has suggested, which is very important, knowing what you're taking action on and having the complete information on it. It makes you make targeted efforts towards that cause. I also believe that we should individualize and personalize the causes such that if it's about climate action, what individual action am I taking it towards it? In my individual capacity, am I making sustainable practices? Am I walking the talk? Basically, that's the simple of it. Also, how am I influencing those around me? I think that's very important as young people, as people who are working towards these issues that are really affecting us. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jitonga. Also was a pleasure to hear from you through all of this panel. But yeah, let's go for the third one. How about you, Janice? You are muted. Don't worry, we always do that. You're still muted.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you can hear.
Sorry.
Don't worry.
Okay. Nearly 50% of the developing world population is young and children. There are 1.2 billion 50 to 24 years old in the world, and 1 billion live in developing countries. Young people constitute a high and a peaking proportion of many populations. These large numbers of young people are an opportunity, an investment. Young participation in development strengthens young people's abilities to meet their own consistent needs, prevents and reduce vulnerabilities to economic, political, and socially unstable environments, promotes ownership and sustainability of interventions, helps gain entry into target communities, and build up trust and social capital. Enabling young people to engage with democracy and development and peace building enables the exercise of citizenship, making claims and holding governments and donor agencies to account. That's a Paris principle, mutual accountability. Exercise of citizenship rights and duties in young and durable and often determined political participation later in adulthood. Participation promotes learning, empowerment, and greater control over lives, which enables a wide range of voices to be heard. Make policies and service appropriate for youth, building youth people commitment to the solution. That's Paris principle of ownership. Young people and adults are young responsibility on the advisory board of the UN Habitat Opportunities Fund for Urban Youth-led Development. Participation is commonly used approach and concept within development. Through active participation, young people are empowered to play a vital role in their own development as well as in that of their communities. The priorities areas are education, employment, hunger and poverty, health, environment, drug abuse, juvenile delinquency, girls and young women, globalization, young conflicts. We need to create effective channels of cooperation and information exchange among young people, their national governments, and other decision makers, encouraging and promoting youth-led organizations, and the importance of role they play in supporting young people, people's civic engagement, capacity building again, providing non-formal education through financial and technical support and promotion of their activities, supporting, including through state and global governments, the establishment of independent national youth councils or equivalent bodies, strengthening the participation and inclusion of young persons with disabilities in decision-making process on an equal basis with others, providing young people who are disconnected or socially and economically excluded with opportunities to participate in decision-making process to ensure their involvement in society. There's an increasing interest in youth participation, driving to some extent, and by the discourse of children's rights. However, this has been limited, and it often only at a superficial level, and in the sense that young people are often included in one of a discussion where the contribution voice do not actually affect core structural policy decisions. There needs to be a shift in working with young people, valuing youth as assets, colleges, and stakeholders, and having an active approach to participation is crucial if development policies are to be truly representative and effective. The active, informed, and voluntary involvement of young people in decision-making both locally and globally is vital if valuing youth as a set is to be achieved. Thank you.
Thank you, Janice. Definitely was a great answer. You could summarize like all of the major problems that we have and how to address them. So definitely was extremely important. And thank you so much for being here, Boya. Let's hear more from Valeria. What do you think about it? What are your thoughts on it?
Sure. Well, all the answers resonate with me a lot, and I really love the efforts of everyone to give very practical answers, to keep it practical, because sometimes it can sound like very hard to touch. But keeping that in mind, I think we have to also understand that no one is going to come to us and say, okay, stand in this stage and say this and this, and then problems will be solved. So it's for us to really define what we want our role to be, and for everyone who is involved in any kind of effort towards sustainable development to decide what, or even to design and plan what their role is going to be. So for some people that's going to be in education, but some other people is going to be from their area of expertise. Maybe they're engineers like me and they want to work in a specific field. And for other people, it's very devoted and fully dedicated to activism. So keeping that in mind and thinking about what practical steps can be done, I think we have to understand what is our most accessible or most immediate system of influence. Who can we influence like the easiest? What is our surrounding? So perhaps for students, it can be their university or their high school class. For others, their office at work. And if I had to talk for myself, if I were to start right now, I would start with my university, and then, for example, sharing what has been done with the Earth Charter, and then just share that with my colleagues at university. And then that's my first step. Then from there you can perhaps make people join you, and then you'll have a team. And then once you have a team, you can redesign your goal, and then step by step you create objectives, and then you eventually will have something very tangible. Yeah, that's what I would like to share.
Oh, thank you so much, Valeria. Definitely, you give more process ideas how we can do it, like with your hands, and how to start it since the beginning. And so good because people don't know how to start, and you definitely just say it easier how we can do it in a flexible way. We know that it's not easy, but if we start, we can achieve our goals. But yeah, thank you so much. But yeah, Dora, what do you think about that? Are you there? Dora?
Yeah, I'm here. Okay. I agree with all what has been said. In order to achieve all these policies, I think we need to be selfless in our actions. Okay, we need to be selfless in the sense that we also need to know that when you light a lantern for someone, that same light lantern brightens your own path as well. That is, when you help someone, you are helping your own self in the long run. When we know that, I think we'll be selfless in taking actions to help others. Okay, and then also we must encourage each and every one to be part of our activities and our initiatives. Wherever we find ourselves, like my colleague said, not everyone is an activist. We all have our professional fields that we are in. So wherever you find yourself, make sure you have these sustainability issues in mind. At my workplace, at my house, wherever I find myself, I should make sure that I do things that will not affect the other person. Whether you're at work, wherever you find yourself, make sure you do things that do not affect the other person. So you always do what? You always do good. Okay, so we should also know that one in life, one good thing deserves another. When we have these policies with us, or ethics with us that we work with each and every day, there are small steps towards sustainability or towards achieving the sustainability we want to achieve. When I know that I throw this plastic here and then I leave, right? I leave this plastic. In the long run, this same plastic might end up killing someone or might end up causing flood somewhere, and flood can kill. Flood may kill someone. The rising of this sea, the rising of the sea is as a result of our own human actions, right? We are the cause of all these problems we are facing today. So when we bear in mind that our actions, our negative actions have impact on others, then I think we are on our way to achieve the sustainability issues. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dora. You made clear how some easier actions that we have that can be not that easy can impact like in a whole society. So even the plastic can cause flood and can kill someone. Are like literally short steps that we have to take care day by day, and that case are like a great impact in the world. So definitely was a great goal, and thank you so much more time. But yeah, let's hear a little bit more from Melissa. Are you there?
Yes.
Yes.
and I think there are very actions to be practiced by people. We need to promote different initiatives about the objective sustainable. In my case, I think in different countries to be is necessary to know about the problematics issues. First, first place, I think I understand the political government that is important to have in consideration this um, information, but it needs them to be involved by different actions with persons who have worked in initiative previously. I need to plan. I need to have a variety of initiative. After that, we need apply this initiative and to need to. I think I need to be uh, such a volunteer in my country. I have to promote issues about the ODSs. I think that this different initiative and to encourage people to be promote development in the programs and to need to be emphasized about the plans of governments to take in action about the programs. We need to uh, listen about the explanations in different influencers persons to have a um, involve parents in have a new plan that could be is the best way uh, to make a effort about the to be very perseverant and take to action about that. Thank.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Definitely you gave like insightful answer, not just now, but throughout of the panel. But let's move along with Victory. What do you think about it? What are your thoughts on it?
Okay, thank you so much. This is a kind of is a technical question. How would they incorporate the ideas and proposals of youths in their respective countries and roles they play? You know, youths all over the world are facing discriminations. Sometimes the adults feel we youths are kids. We do not know what's happening. That is why you see that so many countries are ruled by people of over 60 age. You barely see countries that are ruled by youths due to the discrimination we face in our workplace, in our family. Oh, young boy, shut up, you're still a kid. What do you know? You know, we face stuffs like this. And how can the ideas of the youth get incorporated It's by getting involved in politics. It's by raising an awareness that we matter, that we are the leaders of tomorrow. I made an instance about the country that presently have a commissioner of sustainability. I think his name is Lewis or so. He's he's a youth, 15, 16, 17 years, I think in that range. You see how his voice have got to the nation. And in my country, Nigeria, a bill was passed recently, a bill about not too young to run. That's the name of the bill, not too young to run. That youths are not too young to run, and there should be an age reduction for running in different political offices. You see, this is a step, and we youths, we should speak, we should get involved, we shouldn't keep ourselves down, and we should also make moves. We shouldn't feel inferior about all of these stuff. I think the president of France is a young person. That's a typical inspiration for us, and so on and so forth. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Victor. You were necessary now, talking about how we are not kidding. We can do change. Not just that we can, but we do it. It's definitely something that we have to bring up and talk every single day to remember ourselves, especially to inspire, because in this war, like between kids and adults, sometimes we feel that we are alone or we are not good enough. But when you're hearing from a person like you, Victor, I just feel more empowered and more inspired. So thank you so much. But last but not least, let's hear from Glory. Are you there?
Oh, yes, I
Glory?
am.
Yeah. So yeah, what do you think? Yeah, now we can see you, but you're muted. Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, so how do we intend to incorporate the ideas and the proposals of youth in our respective countries and the roles they play? Okay, so first off, there was a time I was making an application, and that caused me to go online, all right, to search for stuffs. And in the course of doing that, I stumbled on more like a speech or a quote that was given by the country director of ISEC in Ghana by name of Abdul Malik. Yes, and then he said something that struck me. He said, youths can have a seat at the table and not know what to do. So it is therefore imperative to involve young people in conversations about policy making, policy prioritization. You understand, in conversations about policy making and then policy prioritization through practical experiences on how they can contribute meaningfully. So I feel that struck me for several reasons. Yes, because in as much as we youths were rallying around trying to look for ways by which we can, make impacts and all of that, or make our countries great or greater than they are, it's also imperative to note that if we are not in the right places, all right, we cannot actually effect these changes. And that was what Abdul Malik was pointing at by saying that we need a seat at the table. All right. So for us to incorporate the ideas we have as youths, the proposals we have as youths, we must be positioned in the right places to get that across. Imagine, let's say, for instance, I'm proposing something, or I do have an idea, all right, to push all our concerted efforts forward, right? And all my ideas, all my innovations and all whatnot are things that I just have within me in, let's say, my room, or within my, should I say, nuclear family, or very tight or small circle, right? How then do I take it out there? How then do people out there know what I'm thinking about? All right. Or know that, oh, she has like a better idea that can solve 1, 2, 3. All right. So if I am not well positioned, all right, I can't possibly bring those ideas to life. But let's say, for instance, I know that there is something happening somewhere. Let's say the government is organizing, or my government is organizing, let's say, a coalition of youths. And I know that, okay, the part of what they're proposing is that this coalition of youth work hand in hand with the government when it comes to like policy ideations, policy making, and all of that. And I know that, okay, I can possibly, let's say, apply to this, I don't know, coalition, or if it be an organization, maybe I can possibly apply to this organization. And let's say in the event that I get picked, I can, in one way or another, propose my ideas, or propose the ideas I have, or I've been able to get from, let's say, my friends within, all right? And then they would be in the better position to, you know, they'll be in a better position to push for these ideas at the national level. All right. What then do I do? I have to position myself. I have to go the extra mile to make sure that whatsoever idea I have is brought to fruition. All right. Instead of just deliberating on these ideas and, you know, just talking about them and being in my house to discuss them without shedding light or spotlighting these ideas. So yes, so I feel like as youths, fine, we know we're youths, we know we're, you know, all over the place, we're campaigning, we're trying to make a difference and all of that. But then I think I would still urge us to make sure, or try to be as well positioned as possible. All right, because if we're not trying to be positioned, if we're not going for, let's say, there are opportunities out there, or like they did in Nigeria, this Not Too Young to Run bill that was passed into law and all of that, and we're not coming out to campaign to, you know, go for, let's say, some political positions, occupy some political positions. All right. How then do we want to amplify our voices? Or how then do we want to amplify the ideas we have? All right. We need to come out more. We need to be at positions of influence. We need to put ourselves out there, so that whatsoever we have or whatsoever we plan to bring to the table is heard by, you know, the government, is heard by the citizens, all right? Instead of just being where we are. So we need to take meaningful actions. I feel that's one thing I'm trying to say. We need to take meaningful actions, and being in these positions of influence is like an avenue, would create that avenue for us to, you know, take meaningful actions. And then secondly, what other ideas should be added? All right. I'm also thinking, you know, based on leadership, sustainability, and ethics course I took with the EdCharter initiative, right? We learned so much about, you know, sustainability, about leadership, about ethics, all right? And one thing I can say, because I know, right, yeah, when we were learning, we also learned about, I think, systemic leadership. You know, I took the course in 2020 during lockdown, so it's been a long time, all right? So I would also urge us, or whatsoever, or what I will also do as a youth, all right, representing my own country or my own region, is to look out for systemic leadership. We as youth, we ought to be systemic leaders or system leaders. What we mean by that is we need to influence beyond our boundaries. I think that was what I was earlier stating as well. We need to begin to influence beyond our boundaries. We need to begin to infuse, ethics in our decision making and all of that. So whatever we do, whatsoever we represent, we actually have to be system leaders for sustainability. All right. And yes, we have to shift our mindset, have this paradigm shift in our mindset, all right, from just being, shareholders or people who have solely profits, I don't know, we're just profit inclined, to being, stakeholders that also try to hold the country accountable, hold our government accountable, and hold ourselves accountable. So in essence, we need to start thinking systemically. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Glory. Definitely talking about systemic leadership is extremely point that we have to worry about it. But not just you, but I would like to thank you all of ACYL speakers for response to these questions in this special day, the special discussion panel, to be honest. But before we end, I'd like to call Rocio to give like a few words, please. Are you there, Rocio? I don't know if she's having some problems, but let me see. Rocio, are you there? Oh, yeah, now she does.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Leonardo. I apologize for the participants, and I'm sick for my voice. I prepared special words about finally this discussion panel. Okay, I prepared this. Very grateful that the moderator, Leonardo, gave us this discussion panel that achieved international success. Won't be left on the international network, Sustainable Development Goals Promoters Panama. I express my most sincere thanks to the speakers who present their point of view about the reality. We are experiencing worldwide and the importance of implementing the Sustainable Development Goals. To civil society, organizations, institutions, and universities of the support in promoting this event internationally. This regional week of action of the Sustainable Development Goals is a reflection to follow the path forward as the Earth Charter document, with education for sustainable development tell us to deliver this legacy for the future generations. As special, I want to thank the Earth Charter Secretary International Network Sustainable Development Goals Promoters, Ecopistin Cafe, and the Marcelino Muñoz Foundation for giving me the opportunity to be a part of their family. Seeing we are one have something in common is that we are dedicated to being altruistic to protect and love our Mother Earth. We must not forget the true essence and reason why the United Nations was created. And we must continue to put international peace and security into practice so that future generations do not continue to make the mistake of the past. I encourage the participants who are broadcasting live to us to move forward and achieve their goals. Thank you very much for your participation, everyone. Love you so much.
Thank you very much, Rocio, for your words. And we are finished the discussion panel, Education for Sustainable Development, in commemoration of the Regional Week in Action SDGs. Thank you very much to the participants for attending this event in English version. Have a great day for the Republic of Panama. See you soon, everyone, and thank you so much for the day.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you soon, everyone. Speakers, please stay in the Zoom. No move it. Thank you. See you later in the next session for the international course.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, everyone.